Evening, people, and welcome to a night session. A night session. I feel like we're doing a US Open night session, a Test match cricket night session with the pink ball. Who else does a night session? Do the French Open do a night session? I don't know, but it's a BNR night session today, 10:30. I don't think we've ever gone live at 10:30, but I've just run my socks off, played the DM role, playing the controlling role, won all the balls, scored all the goals. But yeah, quick shower for me, and this is what you call putting a grind in. But welcome to BNR. Welcome to
Thank
another
you for
show.
hosting, by the way. Everybody, I'll be the guest on
You
everyone.
are never gonna host. You are never gonna host. I don't know. I was just trolling you, but yeah, it was a good game. But more important things that Liverpool are just days away from kicking their own Premier League season off, and a lot of questions still to be asked. And yeah, please do like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. These boys took a while to get for me to convince them for a show today. These boys have started
This live.
sharing stages with Fabrizio Romano now. Now I have to text him three, four
Oh,
times. Are you
man.
coming on? Are you coming on? One's got Wi-Fi problems. One can't be bothered. He's eating with family. This is what I have to do. This is what I have to do now. I have to convince them. This is the problem when you get these guys to rub shoulders with the big godfathers of Twitter and Instagram and TikTok or wherever Fabrizio Romano applies his trade. But welcome to everyone. And I see some big figures as well. Soccer gods in here. How's the hammy? He says. How's the hammy? Evan, I've been struggling with the injury. I've been trying to rest it for a while. Then I've been to sort of I can't say no, and I've been getting into a bit of badminton as well. Believe it or not, it's actually very very good fitness. But and if you're very gifted like me in every sport, then you just can't say no. But anyway, that's enough for me blowing my own trumpet in my head. We've got already a big head on this channel, and it's the blue chip. We all know who's got a big head. I won't mention where it is at the moment, but I must ask these lot how they are. Forget my hammy for a second. And then we'll get cracking to what's been discussed in the all things Liverpool. But Sarib, how are you, man? How's your Wi-Fi anyway? You've been 15 minutes before the show when you said I've got Wi-Fi problems. I thought, you know what, he's gonna give it a miss today. But credit where it's due. You're here, and how are you, bro?
No, I can't complain, man. I'm literally running this off my data at the moment because my Wi-Fi wanted to be a bit slower. Just how like Liverpool in this transfer market, it's crazy, isn't it? We're here to talk about a DM and how long it's taking, and my Wi-Fi just starts to be a bit slow, just like how we are in the transfer market. It just goes hand in hand. But no, I'm good. Good day. Had a nice cheeseburger today, so I feel good. I feel good.
Gene, it says off on your T-shirt. Does that mean you had a day off today, or?
Listen, I didn't sleep all night. I've been catching planes and really 4 o'clock in the morning plane. I got you, and I still made it to the show. So give me some pretty credit, man. No, but I'm doing good,
Oh
man.
yeah, I forgot. You came back
Exactly.
from
Yeah,
Turkey
you
today,
forget.
didn't you?
You
Oh
forget. I
yeah,
got.
no, 100%, 100%. But Chalo, let's discuss Romeo Lavia. It feels like we've been discussing him for about a week or two now since the boys went off to Saudi. But Romeo Lavia, it looks like I've not checked Twitter for the last 2-3 hours, so forgive me. And that's a lot of time in the world of Twitter. But Romeo Lavia, as far as I know, he got left out of the squad today altogether. And when Southampton do that, I saw someone tweet, I think it was Josh himself on Twitter, saying when the Livramento deal went through with Southampton, they took him out of the squad. So that only can mean it's a good sign for Liverpool when it sort of means if Romeo Lavia is going to make his way to Liverpool. But who wants to go first? It looks like we're going to get that deal over the line. But the theme today is, guys, we need to make a statement because there's been a lot of concern amongst the Liverpool fan base, and we've been hearing all about top Reds this and top Reds that, and you have to be in one camp. But we can still provide a balanced opinion. Doesn't matter which camp you are, but it means that Romeo Lavia needs to come, and then we can crack on getting the other missing pieces in the jigsaw, Sarib.
No, absolutely, man. How many times have you come on the show and said, when are we getting this deal done? Oh, we're relaxed. We're getting Romeo Lavia done. Oh, when is it getting done? It's just been a double-ended sword. Like, is it getting done? When is it getting done? It's getting done. It's just been complete mayhem at Liverpool the last week or so, or month or so, I should say. But yeah, like you said, if it does look like a good sign. Livramento was taken out of the squad, then he signed for Newcastle. Lavia was taken out of the squad today, didn't play, and if he did play today, it would have been cup tied for our League Cup games. So it's good that he was taken out regardless, even if that transfer is not imminent at this moment in time. It is good. It still gives us the option to play him in the future games. But no, I expect the deal to get done by the end of this week. I don't think he'll be in the squad for Saturday, but the quicker we get this done, quicker we can embed him in for the game after that. I think it's Bournemouth at home. But let's just get this done as soon as we can, man. I'm tired of waiting.
Gene, is it a bit too early to start thinking about when he's going to play, how long he's going to take to bed into the team or squad or the playing style? Or are we past that point now?
We're definitely past that point. We would have loved to have him to come in, let's say 4 or 5 weeks ago. I think, but obviously that didn't happen, and we've left ourselves in a sticky situation right now. So I think it's more importantly, get him in as soon as possible now, even though it's late as it is. Get him up to scratch as fast as possible, and he has to come and start. And depending on let's say the second midfielder that comes in, hopefully when Lavia gets done, he'll have a few weeks. I think Klopp's alluded to it as well in his presser that we need to find a way of playing you over the next couple of weeks.
But what did you make of that, Gene? Like, what have we been doing for all pre-season? And I found that I was a bit perplexed by those comments. I'm sorry. Like, what have we been doing all pre-season? We've been playing a system. We played it for the back end of last season. We played it all through this season. We even played it with Shimikas, inverting it from the left. So when I saw that, I thought, you know what? We're all in now with this system. And Trent, for me, was only playing DM is because we had no DM. Thiago was out. Bajetic was out as well. So I don't think we would have probably trialed that if the boys weren't injured. But now that we're playing, and we've been playing this for the last 3-4 weeks, what do you think he meant by that? Like, we need to sort a system out for Chelsea. Like, isn't this the system that we've been working on for the last 3-4 weeks and the last 8 games that we played last season?
Asim, look, what you have to understand is over the last, let's say, especially over pre-season, going forward we've been brilliant, but there's gaping holes in, let's say, in the midfield and the defense. So he has to find a way of nullifying the threat. And when you don't have the right players to play that certain system, then you're going to have issues, and that's where we're at right now. We don't have the correct player. We don't have the correct players to actually play that system well, because this system, if you don't have the correct players, you're going to get found out. And everybody knows, if when Trent comes inverted, there's holes already on our right-hand side, and we've struggled, and that's shown in pre-season, and all the rest of the other sides, they can see that. They see that where Liverpool's, let's say, are. So he has to try to nullify that. And look, I think we're going to actually speak about our starting lineup is going to be at the start of Chelsea, and we'll talk about. And I'll give you my thoughts on it when the time comes. But
let's go into that. Let's go into that, since you sort of segued into that. And Asadiba, I want your thoughts as well. Gene, you don't fancy this system. I think you sort of got your reservations about it.
It's not that I've got an issue with the system. I want us to play the system, but I want us to play the system when you've got the correct players. Because I just think even in pre-season, I think it's shown that we leak goals in every single games, bar one. I think we've conceded, and against opposition which haven't been that great. Even yesterday, I think the Damsgaard, or whoever we played, that's going to go.
I'm sure he plays for Denmark.
Exactly, yeah.
Damsgaard.
Just look at him. They really haven't conceded all. They haven't scored in any pre-season game. Liverpool rock up and they get their first bloody goal. Just sods low. That it just goes to show the goal itself. The question marks over the defense again. So I'm at the look. It's not I don't have an issue with the system. I just want us, because it's Chelsea on the weekend. I put on a personal opinion, I want us to go back to a 4-3-3. I actually want us, I want us to go back to a 4-3-3. And I'm going to actually put this out there as well, because we don't have a DM. We've tried Curtis Jones. It didn't really work. We tried Trent and Trent, sorry. It worked to an extent. And but still we conceded goals. The only game that we didn't concede goals, well, we conceded one yesterday, was when McAllister was playing in that position. So ideally, I want to see McAllister play in that position. But because of the threat of Chelsea, Asim, I want Gomez to start right back, and I want Trent and McAllister in a double pivot. Number one is because McAllister's played in that position brilliantly well for Brighton. and he only moved to a 10 later on, and he was brilliant with him and Caicedo in the 10. So for him to play with Trent as a double pivot, it makes sense. It's a position that he's played previously and played it well. It'll also give Trent a bit more license to play, and we're sort of covered when it concerns the defensive line, because Gomez will play that, he'll give you that solidity in the right back position, because Chelsea obviously possess a lot of pace. So yeah, look, I'm more towards that sort of, let's say, personnel against Chelsea, because I just think, number one, it gives you the solidity in defense.
So if Gomez plays right back, where would you play Trent?
Trent and I'm playing Trent in midfield for this game, Asim. I'm playing Trent and McAllister in a double pivot, because I just think that would.
Thoughts? Before you go, I don't know if you want to touch on Evans' comment. He says, I have a general issue with the off but the ball structure, regardless of the system or shape. I'm seeing the same issues with our press that I was seeing when the 4-3-3 died last season. Just to give you a bit of context, Liverpool generally press in a 4-4-2. Last year, the same as well. Salah tucks in, Henderson or Elliott went wide. That was our general 4-4-2, and you saw Manchester City deploy that, and Arsenal. But for me, when our press died, you have to look at the reasons why, and Evan probably touches on this in further comments that are not available to me right now. But Sarib, you have to understand what happened. We lost Mane, an unbelievable cover shadow guy who could screen, teams. And who can press like a monster. Maybe not as well in his sort of latter days, but that experience and that just presence on the pitch of Mane was unbelievable. And then Bobby Firmino, sort of coming back onto the halfway line, nicking the ball and making sure he's a protection for the midfield and the defense as well. We lost two massive pieces. And then for me, if you saw the last preseason, what happened is when we brought Darwin Núñez on, we needed to make sure, how do we get our main playmakers close to Darwin Núñez? And that's when the process for Trent to invert started. Maybe not in the first phase, most definitely get closer in the second and third phases. And if you go back to preseason games last season, that's what exactly happened. We wanted to get closer because Darwin Núñez playing on the shoulder defenses was going. But we also was a massive factor is Harvey Elliott and what's his name, Henderson, were playing in the half space. So we're already one midfielder down when we lose the ball, because they're an attacker now. Generally speaking, when we've got the ball, they're not a defender. So if you sort of, put all these things together, surely then the structures are going to go down. And then forget about leaking goals from the first 5 minutes, chasing games and being more open. And then the confidence, was lacking as well going on, into the mid-season and latter stages of the season. So if you put all these things together, of course it's going to affect our press and everything. But it was a write-off season in the end. And so much so that we changed the system. But I would just want to know what your thoughts are regarding Gene. Gene goes, look, we need to go back to basics. Let's go for the conventional 4-3-3. But do you think it's a risk now? Or do the players know it so well that you can just go revert to it so comfortably on Sunday?
No, I absolutely agree with what Sheen said, because the 4-3-3 to me at this moment in time makes a lot more sense than trying this inverted role. Like you said, we don't have the current personnel to be playing the inverted. We really have a defensive midfield player at this moment in time. I think more of our squad know the 4-3-3 role inside out, because we played it last season as well, and most of the players from the previous regime under Klopp's first team know the system like the back of their hand. Like I'm talking about Salah, Robertson, Trent, Van Dijk, etc. They've all played the system for many years under Jurgen Klopp. I know we lost Firmino, Mane, like you say, vital cogs of the pressing system that Klopp became so famous for. But obviously, this is a transition period for Liverpool. The preseason was a trial period for us. So was the end of last season. We knew end of the season was kind of a write-off for Liverpool. Like realistically speaking, we had an inkling that we weren't playing Champions League football, and I think Klopp knew that for a long time, which is why he started to experiment come near the end of the season with Trent in that inverted role. And because we're trying to move away, I think, from becoming a high press, high energy team into a more possession-based team, hence why Trent's moved into that kind of inverted role. I think it allows us better. We have ball players in our midfield, now McAllister, Szoboszlai, etc. But I think going 4-3-3 is the safer option at the weekend because more players know the system. It's not going to take too much of training time. Like you had to play Tsimikas inverted. Even if Tsimikas were to play on the weekend, him playing as a left back, he knows that role. Just get him behind, get wide, put balls into the box.
Gene wants a 4-2-3-1. If he's playing a double pivot, Gene is a 4-2-3-1.
Yeah, and look, to be honest with you, look, yeah, I mean, I mentioned a double pivot. I mean, a lot closer together. Yeah, it can be a 4-3-3, Asim, and Trent will get, let's say, a slightly bit more license in terms of going forward. But I want to see our four attackers, Asim. I want to see Gakpo. I want us to go all out in attack, play the 4 with them two, where Trent can go as well, and it just gives it with playing Gomez, it solidifies your defense because right now. I don't want to take away our attacking threat either. When your biggest weapon is your attacking threat, play them. So I want us to give us that attacking threat. And plus, this way, at least it'll give us some sort of solidity defensively because right now, defensively, I think we're just all over the shop.
And Gina, are you not concerned that in a 4-2-3-1, you're giving a bit more responsibility to the fullbacks? And we played that 4-2-3-1. I think it was home to Rangers, maybe. I might be wrong. I might need to double check, but I think we played a 4-2-3-1 and we played Trent as a right back. But we made him stay and we made Robbo go. So if you're going to play Gomez there and make Robbo go, who's going to provide the switch? Gomez hasn't got the switch. And you also have the responsibility for Salah to make sure he's a bit deeper to track his winger or left back running that side because you've got two guys. Are Trent and McAllister going to be, have they got the legs to be, or do they really have they got the characteristics and the sort of that characteristic to really go runs down the channel, down the sides to sort of sweep up the ball and mop up the ball? Are they a Wijnaldum? Are they a Henderson?
Right, I don't think so. They're probably not. But right now, beggars can't be choosers, and that's the simple truth. We have to give in somewhere defensively. We're gonna have to give in certain positions. You can't say you're gonna play this formation and still expect us to play the same sort of way. We just don't have the personnel. I just want us to. Right now, I would rather say you think to myself, you know what? Do we have some sort of solidity with this defense? Probably yes. Right? At least it gives you 5 players that will defend. Right now, we're playing with 2 defenders. We're playing with bloody in all our 11. We're playing with bloody Kanate and Van Dijk as our only 2 defensive-minded players. The rest of them, every single one of them wants to go forward. So at least with this sort of system, it gives us some sort of solidity in defense. And with the front 4 that we're gonna have, hopefully it will give us some sort of it will give us attacking threat because we've seen that in pre-season. I just don't want us to go into the game, number one, go all gun-ho against Chelsea because we're going to get outplayed, especially with their wingers and stuff. So I just want us to play with that sort of system. Look, regardless of who plays, I think there is going to be flaws in how we play this game because we just don't have the personnel.
Sorry, but I think it's over. Sorry?
I want to know what you want to play in this, how you'd play this.
I'd play the same system that we've been playing. I think, look, we have to understand look how hard it is. Look, we have to understand going from that conventional 4-3-3, it is going to take time. It's not going to work overnight. And we're missing arguably 2 of the most important pieces in this jigsaw, at least one of them, which is the DM. The second one is Robertson. And I'm not going to call out Robertson. I absolutely love him. He's been a legend for Liverpool. But it's Klopp's fault as well because he's making him go down that channel and flank like he's a fullback. He's not a fullback now in this system. He's a left-sided centre-back / left back. He needs to be a Nathan Ake. He needs to be a more disciplined, and that's on Klopp. Let me put it out there. He needs him to be. But the problem Klopp has as well is he's not comfortable in that first phase build-up. He's not comfortable. But if you have someone like McAllister and even Curtis, obviously they're not the ideal DMs. But this is probably why we might need to revert to total football, total control. And this is where...
no control, man. You've seen... One second. What you're mentioning, there is no control in the back line.
It's pre-season, man.
Doesn't matter if it's pre-season.
It's pre-season.
Pre-season is... Look, I get that. But what we are seeing is the same old issue defensively. The high line is a problem. Deep down, we all know. And the goals we're conceding is showing that. We concede goals left, right, and center. The goals that we're conceding
I'm not worried about that goal that we conceded yesterday. I'm not concerned about it.
Okay.
Because that was Kanate's fault. He should hold the line sometimes and head the ball out. You can't play offside trap. If you're out of position 5 yards, stay there. You've got the recovery place to recover. I'm not concerned about that. What I'm concerned about is the transitions. When we lose the ball, Sarib, all I'm saying is you need to make sure Robertson is in the last line of defense. We don't need a sixth attacker unless, you're facing an absolute big bus. But at the moment, Liverpool have been playing two players, Kanate and Van Dijk. And let's be honest, they're not been, great in pre-season as well, especially Kanate.
That is exactly my issue right now, what you just said. They have not been at all good enough. Okay, Van Dijk to an extent has been decent. Kanate hasn't been great at all pre-season. I'm not trying to say that he's a bad player or anything like that. He's a brilliant player, and some players might, use pre-season as just a way of getting fit. But Kanate hasn't been good. If they were like decent enough, and I thought, you know what, they've had a decent pre-season, because it does give you a slight indication, especially when we've had issues defensively. So look, I get where you're coming from, but if these players were playing at a decent sort of level right now, I'd say, you know what, you're probably right, stick with it. But they're not. Tell me a defensive player in all that has played that's had a decent, let's say, that's done well in pre-season. Name me one.
Van Dijk's been all right.
Okay. He's been okay. I said well, played well.
Yeah. But Evans has a point. 3 of our goals that we've conceded in the last 2 pre-season games will be VR'd offside.
Okay, what you're saying is you look. Okay, fair play. All right, 3 of them knockout. You still conceded about 6 or 7 against low league opposition.
Of course. But you look, Jake says he hates the shout out. It's pre-season. Yes, but we have to judge. We gave 8 games, and you have to with a lot of good things. It revived Fabinho for a second because there was bodies around him, and yes. Sarib, in this system, Trent is going to invert. But the moment we lose, I think our counter press has been better in pre-season. We've sort of gone about, swarming teams a bit better than we were doing last season.
A lot of that, Asim. Whenever Dom's played, he's doing a lot of that.
But he's a signing, isn't he? He's not a player.
What I'm saying is, how bad have we looked when Trent in transition? We struggle. We've struggled so much again in pre-season, though.
Yeah, but let me ask you this: is our counter press better because we just have we have better players there? We have more attacking players on the pitch because we lost the road runners, Henderson, Genie, etc. So now we've got players that have attacking prowess. Harvey Elliott is in the same mode as those players that like to get forward. This is a completely different shift from Henderson and James Milner. We've got completely different dynamic now in midfield. That's why.
What would you do, Sarib? Would you
honestly, generally, I'd go back to 4-3-3. I think there's no.
Look, I'm not saying this should be the be all end all of our system now. Of course not. I want us to play the inverted role, but only when we've got the right players. Okay, let's say Lavia comes and we play him in the DM. Perfect. We bring in one more. Let's say a proper centre back. Then you have the right personnel to really play this system and play it well because we've got everything else. I'm just worried right now on the counter and in transition, we are still gonna struggle, and especially against the pace of, let's say, Chelsea with Modric and Martinez and the other players that they've got. They're gonna cause us problems. First game is away. Klopp's alluded to the fact that we have to find a way. I just think I would rather him play in that. I'd go safe. That's what I'm trying to say. I'd go safe.
You know what? I think these guys. I think these guys have accepted that. Up until I think we play 3 games in August. Up until the end of August, we just win 5-4 every game. I'm all up for that. Why are you guys?
Jallo.
I'm
not scared. It's not about being scared. That's the first game of the season. We've got Newcastle and Chelsea away. What if we don't? What if we don't win?
We won't.
Have you seen our opening 6 games?
What if we don't? Then
we will.
What if we don't?
Where the football tactics is going, the coaching is going, is overloading in middle areas. I don't see now we've been inverting, and you're gonna see sort of subtle differences as we go along, depending on who the opposition is. But I think Liverpool have, with this trend inverting, it gives us an extra body in midfield, and I think that's where things are going, trying to create an extra spare man in the middle and to control games. If you don't have a defensive-minded player, then what can you do? Increase your possession probably by 10%. And if you've got the likes of McAllister, you got the likes of even Thiago when he comes back, I think this is what we need. Because even Lavia, when he comes in, Cheen, There's been talk about of a defensive midfielder, more experienced one, a Paulinia, and so a few others that we've been linked with. This was the reason why. Lavia is a brilliant player. He's a young 19 years old player, but he's going to take a bit of time getting to know how we play that DM role. I can remember when Fabinho came in, Liverpool said, Klopp said, look, hey mate, this is not a sort of a third centre back deep lying midfielder role. This is a high, sort of win the ball high up so we sustain attacks. And Lavia is going to take a bit of time. Whether he comes in after 3-4 games, I don't know. It probably depends how he sort of fares in training. But I think what we need to do is, at the moment, we just need to sort of see what we've been doing for the last 4-5 games. And I think it's just too risky now. You don't want it to go to a normal conventional 4-3-3. You want to go into a 4-2-3-1. It's a different system. I just think it's too risky.
Look, a 4-2-3-1. Then you mentioned you want protection in the midfield, so you have to give him some sort of protection. But anyway, look, I think we're
a front foot team, and we're going to play front foot football.
But you also need to respect the opponent that we're playing. We're not playing at home.
Of course.
Playing a team that have some of the best attacking players in this league. Like, I'm going to be so
rude. I'll be honest with you.
We haven't won at Chelsea since we won the title. Like, I'm not going into this game with any confidence, especially without no defensive midfield player. This having no DM like this, having McAllister and Trent in the pivot, etc., would work against teams that the lesser teams in the league. No disrespect to those teams, but teams would keep the ball against a lot more. We go into the Chelsea game, I don't know what to expect. I don't know if we're going to have more possession in the game. I don't know if it's going to be 50-50. But I'm going into the game respecting the opponent. It's Chelsea. We're going away to Chelsea. We're not playing a team that's just been promoted. No disrespect. We're not playing Luton Town. This is a serious team. This is a serious team we're playing with under a very good coach. And I've seen enough in preseason to suggest that Chelsea are going to have a very good season. So I'm very concerned as to what will happen on Sunday, because if Lavia was done, I'd have a bit more breathing room. But we've got no six, regardless of who's playing in the midfield. We've got no protection in the midfield. You can play Gomez right back all you want, Trentonville. We've got no protection in that midfield whatsoever. If we get counted on, we are in serious trouble, because even our defense at this moment in time does not look the greatest.
Okay, you're concerned. You're wary of Chelsea in the weekend. Give me your predictions then, and your team predictions. I want your teams then. You already told me, Gene, that Gomez starts for you, and you want Trent. Who else do you have in your team? McAllister alongside Trent. Who are you playing up front?
Front four. I'm going all front four in terms of...
Which front four? Who are you playing in the 10? Gakpo.
Look, everybody's going to give me a lot of shit now, because I wanted Darwin Núñez to start this season, right? People have said, because I've always said I wanted Darwin Núñez to start, yeah, this season. But sometimes, you got to make a sacrifice for the team. And the way Klopp's starting, he's going to go with, let's say, Gakpo, Jota. I want to see Gakpo, Jota, Diaz, and Salah. I want to go all four up to, well, when I say four, I mean three, and then Gakpo obviously drops.
Yeah. Sarib?
I think he goes. Yeah, I think he goes 4-3. I think he goes Jones, Szoboszlai, McAllister in midfield. I think he goes Jota, Gakpo, Salah. And the back four, as always, Robbo, Van Dijk, Kanate, Trent, and Alisson. I think you have to go with that.
You're not playing Gakpo?
No, Gakpo plays. It's Gakpo, Jota, and Salah as the front three. I'm not playing Diaz.
Jota on the left.
Jota off the left. Yeah. I think he's in
McAllister and Szoboszlai.
Yeah, we're playing. I'd play Jones, McAllister, and Szoboszlai as a three. I think Jones has played as a 6 in preseason. So
who do you play in the 6th though? McAllister, and then Jones in his favorite position.
No, I'd play Jones the deepest.
6.
So you're telling me, Sarib, you're just going. You have to respect
though. You could flip a coin and
you just told me you're respecting the opposition, Sarib, and it's Chelsea on a Sunday, the first day of the Premier League season, and you're playing Curtis in a lone, DM role. I know he's played it before, but look, are you not concerned the fact that Curtis Jones is a brilliant technician? He's brilliant, comfortable on the football. But against Chelsea, you've been guys, and rightly so, we're going to at least for 10, 15, 20 minutes suffer on Sunday, where it's going to be backs against the wall. Are you not concerned he's not that type of midfielder where he needs to snuff out danger, really get aggressive in the tackle, run back towards his own goal, cut back, get a cut back and clear it away? He's not that type of DM. We need a bit of a destroyer in that player. But that's why I would play McAllister in the role. I think McAllister has got a bit more about him. He's got that South American grit, And I think he's a bit better when you need to sort of roll your sleeves up. I think he's got a bit more by him. The only reason why I think, and Evans gonna go crazy at me being saying why you sort of picking a player because of his height. I only think Jones gets in that midfield role is because of his height, his natural height.
But that's why I think Klopp will play. I think he will play Jones deeper than McAllister. I think on Sunday he's going to go 4-3-3 and play Jones deeper than McAllister. With McAllister dropping in with Jones, because obviously Jones is not alone. Jones is not a six, simple as, neither is McAllister. The fact we're having this conversation is mad. It's crazy to me as well, because if Lavia was done, this conversation would be completely different. But we need to. Who is going to play at the six is the question. We've got no six, and we're talking about who's going to play at the six. This is the problem. It's going to be Jones or McAllister for me. I think it's 4-3-3, Jones or McAllister as a six. You tell me what can we do?
You know, I would play. I'd play the same system, a 4-3-3, and then I'd go the same system that we're doing, a 3-box-3 system. Trent, Van Dijk, Kanate, Robbo. I'd play McAllister in the lone six. I'd play Szoboszlai on the right, and then I'd go Curtis Jones on the left. And then I'd go Gakpo, I'd go probably Diaz, and then I'd go Mohamed Salah.
So you go Diaz, Gakpo, Salah.
Yeah. You know, to be fair, you could probably make a case for anyone. Obviously, Salah is a certain starter. But them four, you can make a case for anyone. You can make a case. You can make a case for Nunes. You can say Chelsea are going to come at us and we're going to catch him on the break.
Genuinely,
ended it. Ask him, to be honest with you, right now he's trying to shit.
Is he kind of ish?
Obviously,
I should have known.
Anyway, look, I think in terms of the team, Asim, I think anybody we don't know what's going to happen, and I think this is where Liverpool's at right now. We don't know if we're going to win 4-0 or lose 3-0. That's just the way it is. We don't know if we're going to finish second or we're going to finish eighth. That's with Liverpool Football Club as a whole right now. So we just got to hope and pray that the first game this year, hopefully, we manage to get 3 points on the board.
Where's James Milner when you need him, man?
Well, Kadir says Asim Jota as the 9, as his pressing is brilliant. I would have Gakpo in the 8. So if you have Gakpo in the 8, then you probably let go of Curtis Jones, and then you play Gakpo as an 8, and then that makes space for Jota. I'm up for that as well. Is how brave you go. You guys say you want to protect the sort of not protect, respect the opposition. I probably would agree with Kadir as well that, yeah, we've got no DM, but you have to play players with control. Make sure we, keep the ball. It's a risky. That's
why playing Trent and McAllister in there.
But no, that's that's conservative for me. But I would rather have the ball rather than let the opposition have the ball, because with Gomez, you're not going to keep possession, as well as you've got Gakpo and Trent and McAllister and the likes of Trent inverting as well, because he comes in midfield with automatically got the spare man. But that's all the tactical side of things. Let's go to the personnel who we actually could bring in the next week or so. We've talked about Romeo Lavia. Hopefully we get him over the line the next few days or so. And then it's the defensive line, guys. Before you go there, do you see Liverpool go in for a midfielder? Gravenberch keeps on popping up. We even saw some links about Czech Decore today. Can Liverpool pay that 60, 65 million? Will Liverpool pull a rabbit out of the hat? Will the owners back the manager? Your thoughts? Or you're still the same that it's not going to happen, and we'll be surprised if it does? Liverpool bringing second midfielder and another. Gene, you were adamant that Liverpool are going to bring only 2 bodies in, Lavia and a centre-back. Do you still stick with that?
Yes. By the way, I think we might change in the next 2 hours, depending on how Fluminense get on, because they're playing right now, aren't they? And if Andre's team loses, then maybe there's a chance that they'll go in for him. And if not, to see 3. I'd be very surprised to see 3.
Wild goes, would we play 5 at the back? It's these boys. These guys are negative today. Why are you bloody scared? They've got a new manager, new players. They've bought about 1 million players, sold about 1 million players, and we're bloody scared of Chelsea. Come on.
That's that this is his biggest problem. He thinks, we're going to go out there. He thinks it's that season where Liverpool used to go out first 20 minutes, just blast teams 3 or 4.
Live by the sword, die by the sword.
I will win by football, but look, I've seen us in pre-season, and from what I've seen, there's just too many issues right now, man. Going back,
I think if we was at
like,
home, this conversation would be different. I think if this was
maybe.
Anfield, I think we can get the crowd behind the team. I think because we're going away, there's a bit more cautiousness within the fans. They're a bit like on edge, like, oh, I don't know what's going to happen. If this game is at Anfield, I reckon we absolutely batter Chelsea. But because it's away, we don't have the support as much as we do at home. I think it could be a bit of a. I don't know what you look anyway, but that's why I think we could be in trouble on Sunday if we don't get the team selection correct.
Yeah, 100%. Yusuf with the super chat, he says Mac and Jones as the two personally. So I think he wants to play two in midfield as well. So yeah, let's see what happens. But there was a shout of a centre back that we've been linked with, and I think Evan, did a graphic on him as well. Arthur Theate. Is that good enough for you guys?
Obviously, to put you right. I don't know.
Arthur Theate is our guy for centre back, and Evan's graphic. I don't know how much you've seen of this kid, Sarib, but he seems to be that sort of defender where very comfortable on the ball, left-footed. He's a left footer, and that's what we need to come through the door at Liverpool, because I've been always advocating for something different. Shimikas and Robertson are too similar for me. They're fullbacks / wing backs. We need a left-sided centre back / left back, and he is one of them. And he's Belgian, so if we get Lavia through the door, then we can make it two. Why not?
I mean, if he's a centre back and he's left-footed, bring him in. At this point, I'm just tired. Any of you two left-footed as well? Asim, Saj,
I'm both-footed.
Okay, honestly, anyone in the comments.
The amount of times I've put him on his ass when I've gone down my left foot, it's unbelievable. Ask him. Look, he's going to shine now. We
Honestly,
know
this. Before you guys, I need to tell you something. These guys played for a football team, never won anything in their lives. They made one signing and they won trophies. So that's all I need to say.
Carry on, Sarif. Sorry about that.
Honestly, I don't know too much of him, man. But at this point, I think anyone would work for us, because clearly in this system we need a left-footed centre back. I don't know too much of that player, particularly because I don't really watch that league necessarily. I think the one that we all speak about on the show is Inacio, and that's the one we all wanted. I think the dream was Gavadio and Colwell, but I think Inacio is the one we all want. I think Liverpool, Fabrizio came on the show and said we're not looking at Inacio, but if this guy that we're linked with is a left-footed centre back and he definitely improves our team, then why not? I trust Klopp, I trust the board, etc. So let's see in it. It's a waiting game with Liverpool. You never know what we can pull out of the hat. Probably nothing, but we can pray and hope, I guess.
Do you still think that Liverpool only bring two players?
Honestly, I'm even down. We'll get two players. I think Lavia and this done. I really hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong. But Jenny, I think once we get Lavia, I think we're finished, because that's already disruption in the season. And Klopp doesn't like to sign players when the season's began. He says that so many times. He said he wanted all his players in by the start of pre-season. We're now going into the Chelsea game, which is about, I think, 5 days away, and we still haven't got a defensive midfield player in. It's very unlikely, I think, Klopp will go and get two more players or another player alongside Lavia, because he just doesn't like the disruption. Klopp is like that. He doesn't like...
Hey, listen to me, mate. Listen to it, sorry, mate. Klopp, regardless of who it is right now, mate, if he wants three players, he is, regardless of the season starting or not, you have to buy a centre-back, a midfielder, and the bare minimum. And even for me, that's not enough. And even, I think, sorry, I can't pronounce your name. Deju, I don't know how you spell it, if I'm honest with you, but you mentioned Van Dijk is asking for signings. Exactly. That's my point. Even the players know that we are short right now, right? We are short right now. Not short by one. We are short by at least two. So that is like, if to be honest with you, the owners, if Klopp, the board, whatever, they'll only survive Liverpool fans, Asim, if we bring in two. That's the minimum. If we bring in one player right now, and let's say we lose against, obviously it'll be two. It'll be at least we would have played at least 2 or 3 games by then, and we not start well in this season, and we only bring in Romeo Lavia. It's going to be anarchy amongst the fans, because they're going to be like, "What the hell have you been bully playing at?" Our net spend is going to be again next to nothing, and you just haven't done enough again. So I don't want to be in the situation where we've only bought in Lavia. May God forbid, because I'm not going to be a happy man if Lavia is the only one that's coming in through this window. And I don't think most Liverpool fans will be the same. They'll be going schizo, because
Liverpool Twitter is already A bit fiery at the moment, Liverpool Twitter. But Gene, I'll just read you out his comment, his quotation. He goes, obviously, when a lot of players are leaving, when your captain is leaving and your vice captain, and at the moment there are only 2 incomings, and the way we have been playing in possession is really good, but defensively, when you concede goals, it's not as good. I can understand some people having doubts. Is this him sort of officially coming out and sort of upping the ante for the club to really make a statement? Because look, Van Dijk hasn't got long left.
This is a captain's statement. He's come out and said it exactly how it is. Everybody knows where the issues are. Everybody knows where we're going wrong. So to give Liverpool Football Club a 19-year-old kid and say, okay, he is a 19-year-old kid at 45 million, he's going to go and solve all your issues is just wrong. And they will. I genuinely believe that we will bring in at least 2, but we need, even then, I still believe we're short. I genuinely believe we need 3 because Lavia was an addition to what we already had.
Yeah.
And a centre back was standard. But because we lost 2 midfielders, now 2 midfielders is the standard. Because we've just lost 2 and we were going to add 1 anyway. So it just doesn't make sense, all of this. So bringing in 2 midfielders and a centre back, then I think we're ready to sort of go on. And then nobody's got any sort of excuse. But you know what? We've got the right players. We've got enough players to say, okay, we're good to go now. But if we're sold short again, which I believe will be 1 short, because that's what the standard FSG, Liverpool Football Club have always done. We've always said we've always been 1 short. But let's go.
Gene, what did you make of Gary Neville's comments? I'm sure you read them or you saw the overlap. He's been, and to be fair to him, he's been saying it for a long, long time. And he's been saying when Liverpool have been playing well as well, winning trophies, that is because, generally speaking, I know there's been a brilliant team upstairs as well. He said it's down to the genius of Jurgen Klopp. But he cannot keep getting those players right. He cannot keep getting a £30 million player and making him into a £150 million player. Because what's happened now is the market has changed. Liverpool are still at that sweet spot of 30, 40, 50 million. And you've seen it with Lavia. You've seen it with Gakpo. You've seen it with Diaz. Liverpool are still got the market, of their own. But the big boys, even Arsenal, Chelsea, United, City, have got a market of 70, 80, 90, 100 million pound players on a consistent basis. And that's where Liverpool have been left behind. And he's been saying that Klopp has been shielding the owners. What did you make of his comments?
Look, Asim, to be fair, Gary Neville does talk a lot of shite at times. And, and let me put out there first and foremost. But I sort of got it, Asim, because he's been through that sort of phase where Fergie sort of did the same. And, Fergie sugarcoated the owners and all that sort of thing. Jurgen Klopp, look, we all know. And I get, that we work to a budget. There's a certain way of Liverpool working, all that palaver that comes out fair. But when you've got net spends lower than really 18 of the 17 other clubs in the Premier League, that tells you something is not right. Especially when this is supposedly our transition change summer where we were going to go all out. There was supposedly a £200 million kitty that Jurgen Klopp was going to get, and he hasn't got it. I just think, Asim, they tell him what it is. Is he the question is he a sort of yes man? It's hard to not agree though. I think maybe sometimes he should come out a bit more. And I think he has at times put a bit of pressure on where he said, we have a budget, we need to do more, we need to do this, we need to do this. But you can't expect Jurgen Klopp, Asim, to come out and say, give me this, give me this, give me that, give me this. And a lot of fans, that's what people say. They should come out and say, give me this. But Jurgen Klopp's not going to do that. He understands how this football club is run, how we operate. But the owners, it's on the owners now to back him, because if he did, let's say, tie the rope, go with whatever they say. But then this was the summer to say, you know what? If he has been a yes man, at least go and give him the bloody funds this summer, because we're really struggling. They Philippines still haven't done it. So this is where now I think come 31st of August, if Jurgen Klopp doesn't have what he needs to go in this season, Jurgen Klopp has to make it. I'm not saying go out, but make a bit more noise, saying bloody give us the money. When he's saying everything's all hardy down and taken care of, okay, 31st of August isn't far away. We will know if everything's been taken care of when that time sort of comes. So look, I get where fans are coming from. I actually understand it, because Gary Neville, he's been through it with Fergie. As soon as Fergie went, we saw the demise. Jurgen Klopp's at that phase right now where it can go both ways. if it doesn't go, let's say over the next couple of years, we don't get the, we don't mount any title challenges, we don't bring in the players, the other teams become better than us, then it's understandable what he said, because that's exactly what's happened. So I've said it before, 31st of August is, well, whenever the transfer window closes, Asim, it's going to be huge. Number one, it's going to be huge to see if the club have backed Jurgen Klopp, yes or no. And if they haven't, then and Klopp's all hardy down, all happy about it, when deep down we know he's not, then of course he's been tying the rope.
But sorry, but Jurgen Klopp has been getting accused even in the comments tonight, saying he needs to do more, he needs to come out, he's too much of a yes man, towing the line, as Gene says. But I know we discussed it that other day, but if a manager comes out, you don't last long. The moment you go against the owners, regardless, and I know this sort of thing where Liverpool have been all about the manager in their history. It's all of the fans are bought into the manager. If he's successful, brilliant. They buy into his sort of energy and sort of belief. We all trust Jurgen Klopp, and there is a lot of sort of a group in the fan base as they want him to go. They want him to come out and say, "Look, I'm not getting backed." But what do you really think he's going to do that? Is he that type of personality? If you look at the clubs that he's sort of managed, Mainz, Dortmund, Liverpool, all very similar that work under some sort of budget. And the moment he comes and does a Jose Mourinho or Antonio Conte, you just don't last. Simple.
As soon Jurgen Klopp knows FSG will not fund him. He knows this, but he's not gonna, like I said on the last show, he's not gonna turn on his players. If he comes out in the press conferences, he goes, "I need money to sign more midfield players." What's that gonna be to the players in the dressing room already? He's gonna cause internal turmoil within the club.
One second, Hazard, before you go. But we don't even have midfielders right now. They'd actually be happy that players are coming in, because they know there's no number 6 there right now, and the one that's going to come in is a 19-year-old. Surely they want more help. Not every player. Yeah, there might be a couple of players, but generally speaking, right now we need midfielders. The players know that. Van Dijk's come out and said that. So it just makes sense that, and they actually did. There's a couple of times Alisson came out and had a go. Van Dijk came out previously in January. I'm sure he came out and said we need players. So sometimes if the players want to go and win the big sort of trophies, you've got to bring in the players. And if they're short, then I don't buy the fact that Klopp's not going to. This is him throwing players and not backing his players. There's a problem that needs to be resolved, and it only gets resolved by bringing in the players. Because no player there right now is going to solve that problem, and them players right there, they know that they can't solve that problem in the number 6.
But Gene, if we're putting 3-4 bids in for Lavia, making it a public stalemate, keep on going, increasing the bids by $1 million or $2 million, is that Klopp's fault?
Of course, it's not.
So our fans,
Lavia is one of the most ridiculous transfer sagas that we've come across. Liverpool have known that they're going to need a 6. They've put 3 bids in. We're a laughing stock. Imagine, do you think we can walk away from this deal right now?
No, we can't.
Even if we wanted to, we couldn't. Because we know we're in that predicament now where we're basically shafted. We have to pay the money. And to be fair, we had to pay this money 4 weeks ago. We're sat there going up in 2.5 million. I don't know why we're doing that. Yeah, I don't know who's Schmateka, whoever is who's coming is doing this. Made it all public, made it all right. It's a joke.
Yeah, but Gene, in his defense, all these leaks have been coming out from Southampton. Let's be honest.
Okay, all these leaks, but didn't he come out and everybody has come out previously and said Schmateka loves the public eye. He loves to get it out in public. This is
look how we did the Szoboszlai deal. It was out of the blue.
Yeah, exactly. Pay the release clause and you got the player. It's not exactly. I can do that. You can do that. Go and play the release clause. You get the player. Lavia was the one that he had to go and play.
We tried to the price.
Anybody can go and pay a release clause. I say, go and make the Lavia deal at 40 million. Then I'll say, go on, that's Schmateka, you're doing a good job.
Yeah, but if the club tell you that you've just come in, you've got a probation period, you have 3 months, here's 70 million, and we have to go bring in 2 players, then do you blame him? Like penny pinching. Ultimately, you're only as good as your budget, aren't you?
Obviously, but end of the day, if Lavia is a player that you want, and regardless of what he is, we've realized that he was our number 1 target and we've known that for a long time. He was our target, Asim, before Hendo and Fabinho left. So regardless of us paying 40 and 45 million, it doesn't really matter. When he left, we had to pay premium because Southampton know that Liverpool have just received 52 million. This is just the way it works. Their price, they're not going to budge. And so you have to go and pay the premium. You got to go and pay the money.
Yeah.
Say that they were going to accept it at 40 million when they've known we received 52 and they know we've not got no DM is ridiculous.
Sarib, I think what screwed us over is nobody expected Fab and Henderson to leave. That's what screwed us. And it's shocked everybody in the club, including Jurgen Klopp. When them two players came to him and said, we want to go, Lavia was always, he's right. Lavia was always probably going to come in, but we were going to probably do that deal later down the line. But the problem now is they've actually sort of got a kid to come in and take over. And he's probably not good enough. And this is the reason why we're probably penny pitching, because we're probably thinking, you know what? He's 19 years old. He's a good player. Probably turn out to be a world-class player. But we can't bring him in for 50, 60 million because, this club likes to talk that the buzzword it needs to have value in the deal. And if they don't have value, they either walk away or they come back to it in 6 months' time. But now in a desperate situation because Fab and Henderson left and we just left with no DM, no experience in that thingy. And now it's panic time. And now, like Gene says, if you have to pay a premium, you go for it. Yes, maybe in a normal, ideal market, he's probably worth around about 35 million, probably maxed 40 million. But now that you've got that extra money from Fabinho, just go bloody pay that and get him through the door and let's walk on in terms of getting some other signings. But it's been a bit of embarrassment all round for the club. Whether you want to pin it on SFG, George Shamatika, Klopp, and the club as a whole, it's been a shambles. Let's be honest. We were all very optimistic going in after Szoboszlai's deal and Lavia's deal. But now, all of a sudden, what we've been doing for 3 weeks was all pinned down to being faffing around after the Fabinho and Henderson deal.
Generally, I don't think the Lavia deal is stalling because of Fabinho and Henderson. I'm going to be so honest. The reason why this is stalling is because Liverpool are just trying to bring the price down. They've been trying to do it all summer with all the deals. McAllister was a release because of 35 million. Even if you looked at the Dominic Szoboszlai deal, Liverpool tried until the 12th hour to get that deal down from the release clause. And when they knew they couldn't, they paid the money. And that's exactly what they're doing with Lavia. They waited the whole summer to get 2 million down, 1 million now. Oh, let me pay the 2 million in installments. Oh, 3.5 in add-ons here. When we did, Southampton just wanted the 50 million. He is 19 years old. I think that's money well spent. 50 million for a player that's 19 that has probably one of the highest ceilings as a DM in European football. That's like what, 10 million over 5 years? We're going to offer him a 5-year deal, 10 million over 5 years. You're telling me Liverpool can't afford 10 million over 5 years? That's a joke to me. Second of all, he has one of the highest ceilings in the world, and we're looking in the market right now for defensive midfield players. There is a lack of sixes on the market, and we are signing one of the top prospects that could turn into one of the best sixes in the world, and we are naggling over 2-3 million pounds. This is Liverpool Football Club. This, regardless of Fabinho Henderson, I think that's a very weak argument for me because I don't think that has anything to do with Lavia because if Fabinho and Henderson were at the club, do you think it would have speed up the Lavia deal? But they're not at the club and we're still stalling. Imagine they were at the club. They would have let it drag and drag and drag and drag and drag. Oh, we've got reinforcements. We can make that deal happen next summer. The fact that they're gone and we haven't got a DM in is a joke to me. That's why I think it's nothing to do with Fabinho and Henderson. Because if they were at the club, I think they would have dragged it even longer as they could. They're dragging it now. We got no DM. Imagine we got 2 of them. We would have been finished.
The funniest thing that I read, and this actually shocked me, Liverpool Football Club, the deal took so long why we didn't actually go for Lavia. The deal for Lavia, we wanted Lavia for a while.
Yep.
We waited and waited and waited because Liverpool Football Club felt Saudi Arabia didn't have the money to pay for Fabinho and Henderson.
Yeah.
So they waited because what earth are you living in if you're thinking in your heads that Saudi Arabia, who are going and spending all this money, Liverpool were not going to get that money. So we waited. We always knew the Saudi deals generally take a bit longer. The way they operate, the way they do their business, it takes slightly longer. How come Liverpool Football Club, thought Saudis don't have money to pay for these players? Come on, Asim, man. So we waited for 3 weeks
Yeah.
and waited. We should have been proactive. Went for Lavia, try get him the player, and they would have thought, you know what, maybe they would have dealt at 45 million then, because they didn't did
Mm.
the deals for Hendo and Fabinho weren't done then. But no, as soon as the deals were done, we became, our basically they knew exactly we were desperate. We were desperate. We needed 6. Whatever fee we asked for, we're gonna get, and that's where we're stuck with right now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just going back to that word value, isn't it? If you're going to pay a premium for Fabinho, then expect to pay a bit extra for, the likes of Lavia and everything else. But now we're in a position that we might have nicked Lavia late on in the season, in the transfer window, maybe for 42, 43 max. But now we need a few extra bodies because of let Henderson go and Fabinho go. We're all looking for a second midfielder. You've just both said Lavia only is not good enough. Is not enough. Because he's 19. He's got a high ceiling. So has Bajetic. We saw him break down after 10 to 15 games last season. But yeah, let's see what happens. Hopefully he comes through the door and then Liverpool do surprises. And then, maybe we have a bit more optimism
One thing I
going
don't
into the season.
fans, there's absolute turmoil on the timeline saying, "Oh, why are Liverpool not going in for Moises Caicedo?" I looked at it. I did some analytics and I looked at it. Moises Caicedo has played 45 Premier League games. Romeo Lavia has played 30 Premier League games. You really think, and Romeo Lavia, by the way, is 2 years younger than Moises Caicedo. So if you look at the bigger picture, they've not even completed. Caicedo's not even played 2 seasons in the Premier League. He's played 15 more games than Romeo Lavia, and Brighton want 100. They want 50 million more than what Southampton are asking for. Are you telling me that's money well spent if Liverpool going and pay 100 million for Caicedo, then 50 million for Lavia? Do you think there's a 50 million valuation between the two players when one player has only played 15 more Premier League games than one of them? I don't think so. That's why I think Lavia is an incredible deal for Liverpool. I think his ceiling's a lot higher. He's 2 years younger, and the games they played in the Premier, it's literally chalk and cheese. It's literally nothing. There's nothing in it for me. So
yeah, but the thing is, Caicedo is more developed at the moment.
I generally think in the development, Lavia at 19 is more developed than Caicedo, because Caicedo was not playing in the Premier League at 19 years old. He started playing.
There's no guarantee that Lavia reaches the Caicedo level at the moment. There's no guarantee.
No, but from what I see, and what I can see from everything that I want to watch Lavia at 19 years old, he's already playing in the Premier League when Caicedo wasn't at 19. Yeah. For me, that's already him being further in progression at the age, which tells me if he becomes 21 years old, he could surpass Caicedo. Now, what I'm saying is I'm not saying Lavia is a better player than Caicedo, because we all know one is going for 100 million, one's going 50 million. There's a reason why, because Caicedo is a better player than Lavia. But I don't think there's a 50 million gap between the two players when one is 2 years younger and they've played literally. It's 15 games is nothing in the Premier League. One player can play 15 games and have an injury or whatever it is. 15 games is nothing. Are you telling me because of 15 games there's a 50 million valuation between the two players? I don't think so. Which is why I think Lavia for us is an incredible deal.
Of course. But ideally, this was supposed to be the Lavia season, coming in and integrating, learning off a proper established world class. I know he fell off a cliff for the last 12 to 18 months in Fabinho, but he was reviving his performances when we changed the system. But this was supposed to be the season, and I'm just slightly worried with putting too much responsibility maybe for a 19-year-old to come in and say save the day, and that's a bit worrying. Whether he sort of embraces that responsibility, let's see it, and let's hope he does, because he most certainly does have the sort of skill set. But apparently there was a poll which I couldn't see. I'm an admin on this page, but I could not see a poll. But I've been sent the result of it. It was who is starting in our front three, and we've just got the results. He was trying to pin him up on the chat, but I don't know why we can't do that. But the results were Diaz, Gakpo, and Salah was 52%. Diaz, Jota, Salah with 31%. Diaz, Nunes, Salah 11%. Jota, Nunes, and Salah with 4%. So thank you very much for all. You're on mute, Gene.
Sorry, what was the second one? That surprised me, Asim.
Diaz, Jota up top with Salah.
Wow, so they don't want Gakpo and Nunes. I'm surprised with that.
31%. Wow. Yeah. Wow. If Gakpo, I think Gakpo is probably our second or third best player in the team at the moment. Not many players are better than him at the moment, but if you're going to leave Gakpo out of the team, especially away from home, especially with a DM, a non-existent destroyer, if you like, a left back that's bombing on, whether it's manager's instruction or his sort of personality and general natural traits, you need Gakpo in the team for me, because you need someone to hold the ball and, just keep things taking over. This system that we're transitioning into, Liverpool have probably got 2-3 players that don't really generally fit the system. People, even Guardiola, at times he was leaving out Kyle Walker, Kevin De Bruyne, because they're just too direct. This is all about control, and then sort of injecting pace into the attack and beating them with your quality. We've seen Man City on Sunday looked a bit boring to me. Man City, they kept the ball, they kept very solid, but a bit boring. 4 centre-backs with Rodri and Kovacic. That's 6 defensive-minded players. And if you look at Liverpool's team, we don't have one. We don't have one. So we're trying to go into the sort of Pep Guardiola type of structure, but we don't have the personnel in terms of natural personnel. And I know they're very sort of adaptable. Jota can become a bit of a technician. It could give the ball. Most certainly Gakpo can. Salah can keep things ticking over. Trent can. McAllister can. But they can also be very, very vertical as well. So let's see what happens. But it's been an absolutely brilliant show. Gene Blue Chip says, "Come, you all said job well done for Saj for hosting, getting better at it." Yeah, he's getting better at it. But you know what? Tomorrow or the day after, you guys can host. I'm gonna sit back and relax and answer your questions. So
Blue Chip will hopefully be back. He'll hopefully be back by then, and he can do the hosting. He's the main man. He's the director of this channel, so he only deserves it that he hosts that show. So we'll give him the honor of hosting that show.
Yeah. If we don't catch you on screen before Sunday, give me your prediction before we go. Your scoreline.
2-2.
2-2. Wow. He goes, I always back my team. He comes out with 2-2. Anyway.
He's a realist. I'm going with 2-2 as well. I think we
oh, bloody hell. Come on.
It's going to be a high scoring game. I know we play Chelsea and it's normally a 0-0, but I think both defenses are a bit iffy, both good going forward. I think we leak goals, but we score so many. I think 2-2, 3-3 is written on. I'm going 3-3.
I want to see everybody else in the comments. I want to see their predictions.
Yeah, before we go, 3-3 as well. 3 goals. Vanessa says 3
as always, man.
3. John. Oh,
we're gonna go.
John Henry's in there. I thought John Henry's in the building, but he says 3 to Liverpool. I think I'm gonna go with John Henry tonight. 3-2. Darwin Núñez winner.
This is a wicked one. Stefan Vucic 4-5.
That looks like a tennis score. He's serving for the set. Stefan Vucic is serving for the set.
That's a wicked man. 5-3, 4-4, wicked.
Russell's keeping a clean sheet. Wow, I like that. Oh, Divesh goes 5-0. Bloody hell! We might score 5. We ain't keeping a clean sheet.
Yeah.
Kashif says 2-1. But yeah, thank you very much, guys. Before we leave, please like and subscribe to the channel.
Make sure you do, guys.
I think we need to do this more often. Night sessions. We still got over 400 people here. So if you want us to do a bit of a night session once a week, at least let us know on Twitter or on the in the comments tonight as well. And if you're watching the show later on, please do like and subscribe. Let us know what you think about the show. Let us know what your predictions are for the coming season. But thank you very much for tuning in. You guys have been brilliant as ever, and hope to see you very, very soon. And take care and have a good night.